From the lion to the pygmy loris, animal babies come in all shapes and sizes. Join us for a look at some of the cutest critters around as Wild About Animals presents Animal Babies. Throughout this video, we'll feature all kinds of animal babies. First up, a stop at the San Diego Wild Animal Park, where 2 lion cubs and a baby rhino are given a second chance at life.
There you go.
You'll learn all about this curious little animal from Australia. It's a baby wallaby.
When she gets out, she darts around like something's after her, and she works on her turns and running quick. And just like puppies or kittens, they're very playful. Oh, there you go, you silly girl.
We'll check out the newest stars at the Bronx Zoo, Ngoma and Tambo.
When the twins were born, 30,000 people submit names for the twins.
Plus, you'll hear the heartwarming story behind these precious pups.
We never thought we'd have this contact with them until Mom was injured and had to leave.
You'll see all this and more right here on Wild About Animals. And now, from the San Diego Wild Animal Park, here's Mariette Hartley.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wild About Animals in the San Diego Wild Animal Park. This is Maj, and Michonne's wandering around here somewhere. These are 2 beautiful little lion cubs that were born here in captivity. And they presented the park with some unique problems. Here's why. Jeez. The San Diego Wild Animal Park is essentially a breeding place for different species. After an animal is born, it lives out its life here. Unless, that is, something goes wrong. When problems arise, the babies are brought to a clinic where they are hand-raised. Our cute little lion cubs would have perished had it not been for human intervention at the clinic.
Whoa, okay, I'll be back over this way.
Did I say cute? Their mother lives in the 4-acre lion habitat. She bore not 2, but 3 cubs several months ago. Keepers noticed that all 3 appeared sick and brought them in for medical evaluation. As it turned out, their mother had contracted an infection that she passed on to the cubs. The mother and 2 of her cubs were saved. The 3rd cub died. This full-grown female rhino is named Judy. Her mate is named Cornelius. Together, they created Jomo. When Jomo was born, he had weak ligaments in his ankles, which prevented him from standing firmly, reaching up, and feeding from his mother. He, too, had to be hand-raised. Amazingly, his mom actually let human hands collect her milk, which then sustained the calf. Today, Jomo weighs about 300 pounds and is doing fine. I've never had anybody wanted me more in his life. The sad part of the story is that Jomo, Maji, and Michonne can never be reunited with their parents. The cubs would not be accepted by their mother. Similarly, Jomo's parents would neither recognize nor accept their son. Sometime soon, these youngsters will probably be sent to another zoo. Only when life is at stake does the Wild Animal Park intervene. Otherwise, the animals are free to roam the land, untouched by human hands. During our taping, we spotted 2 mule deer living wild outside the park. If they lived inside the park, their freedom would no doubt be sacrificed, but they would also gain much. In times of sickness, they would gain a second chance at nature's most precious gift, life. They're cute, They're cuddly and, as you can see, not at all camera shy, which isn't very surprising considering that since they were born at the Bronx Zoo in the summer of 1994, they've gotten almost as much media coverage as King Kong did. Meet Ngoma and Tambo, identical twin gorillas. So what makes this duo worthy of all this attention? Well, they're one of only 6 sets of twin gorillas ever born in captivity, and they've already survived longer than most of the other sets. And the amazing thing is, the folks at the Bronx Zoo were as surprised as anyone when they both arrived.
It was the middle of the afternoon, and I got a call from one of the supervisors, and she told me that Patty Cake had given birth in the exhibit, and that was a surprise in itself. And she said, I can only see one body, but I can see 2 heads. What happened was the 2 babies were one in front of the other, and the way she was holding them in her arm, you could really indeed only see one body, but you could see both heads. And I was very relieved to see that there were 2 bodies there.
However, the babies were born premature, which led to another set of problems.
One of the twins only weighed about 3 pounds, and one weighed about 4 pounds. Their body temperature, which should have been much like our own, was only about 90 degrees. If we hadn't put them in incubators, they wouldn't have survived.
With the help of the Bronx Zoo staff, the twins became strong and healthy young gorillas. The next item on the boys' agenda was to name them. There were plenty of suggestions.
The New York Daily News had a contest when Patty Cake was born, and were instrumental in Patty Cake coming up with her name, and they thought it'd be fun to do it again with the twins. Little did we know we'd get well over 30,000 people who would submit names for the twins.
The winning names were Ngoma, which in Swahili means to drum or to dance, and Tambo, which means to strut proudly. And the monikers seemed to fit the youngsters to a T.
You will already see them drumming on their chest, just the way their father or any gorilla might do. They're very playful, very active, and strutting is very commonly seen.
So when can we expect the next set of twin gorillas to hit the Big Apple?
I don't promise any more twins. That's entirely up to Timmy and Patty Cake and all the rest of the gorillas here. And I'd be delighted to see twins born again, but I'd be very surprised if it happens here again. That would be just, that'd be lightning striking twice in the same place.
When young children become orphans in our society, they are often adopted. In the wild, most orphaned animals are left to die if they can't fend for themselves. But through the work of the San Diego Zoo, the laws of nature have been altered to make adoption a reality for animal orphans in captivity. This is a pygmy loris, a miniature primate who comes from Southeast Asia. His name is Disney, a fitting moniker for an animal who's become something of a celebrity at his home in the San Diego Zoo. The zoo recently began a study to determine whether adoption was possible among the pygmy loris, and Disney was a suitable candidate because 6 months ago, Disney was an orphan.
We were really concerned about him when he was first born because his mother died just a few days after he was born. So we had him in the nursery, and we were concerned about his social development since he was raised alone. We wanted to introduce him to the other animals as quickly as possible.
The stage is set for Disney to meet his new family. The baby loris is taken from the nursery to the loris house, where he'll be introduced to Irie, a female pygmy loris and a new mother herself, having just given birth to a baby of her own. To help ease the transition, Helena has played a little trick on Irie.
Since they do rely a lot on sense of smell, we wanted her to feel like this was her baby, so we made sure that we put her baby scent on this baby and then and introduced them about the same time.
After some hesitancy, Irie accepts Disney, but the young one can't bring himself to nurse from his adopted mother.
There was a period of a few weeks where we took him back and forth to the nursery. We kept them together in the daytime, and then we took him back so that he could get his bottle feedings. And then things started going really well. He finally learned to nurse from her and started even eating solid foods at an early age, so we were able to keep them together permanently.
6 months later, Disney nurses from his new mom. For the first time in captivity, a pygmy loris female has adopted an orphan loris, and what the zoo had hoped for was now a reality.
We thought our chances might be pretty good with pygmy lorises, though, because they often have twins. And in fact, Irie herself was a twin. And so it seemed like our chances were better with an animal that is better adapted to having two animals than to have just one.
As a rule, most animals don't accept orphan babies of their own species, but the story of Disney the pygmy loris proves there's always an exception to every rule.
He's adjusted very well, and the mother, Irie, treats them both just like they were her own babies.
When a baby animal is orphaned in the wild, its chances of survival are slim to none. But when a similar fate befalls a newborn animal in captivity, the odds are more in their favor. A young wallaby born at the Phoenix Zoo suffered just such a tragedy recently, and the little one's fight for life proved to be a learning experience for everyone involved. Hi.
What are you doing? You want to come out? Huh?
For the folks who run the Phoenix Zoo, it was never their intention to hand-raise an exotic animal, such as this baby wallaby. But 2 weeks ago, they were given no choice.
The mother was found distressed a couple of weeks ago, and she did pass away. We don't know the cause of her death yet, and we're waiting for a histopath result in order to help us determine that cause of death. In the meantime, there we were with a baby in a pouch that was still nursing and that needed some very important care. And we ended up developing this handmade pouch at home so that she could be not only contained, but give us an opportunity to carry her with us as a mother would, and also have her next to your skin so that she has some warmth from you when you're carrying her.
In case you're wondering just what is a wallaby and where does it come from, they come from Australia. And in Australia, the term kangaroo is applied only to the largest species of kangaroo, while all small and medium-sized kangaroos are called wallabies. The baby wallaby at the Phoenix Zoo is a Tamar wallaby, one of the smallest species of kangaroo. The Tamar wallabies are social animals that live in small colonies. They live on the edge of forests where they feed on tough plants and small bushes. At the Phoenix Zoo, a large natural environment is provided for these wallabies. When a baby is born, it is amazing how small they are at first.
When a baby wallaby is born, it's only about the size of your pinky nail, and that baby climbs blind and naked with no help from the mother all the way up through the fur into the pouch. So because of its size when it's born, you don't see the birth like you would with a lot of other mammals. And so until you start seeing a bulge in the pouch, you really aren't sure that there's a baby there. Are you Pumpkin?
They estimate that this baby wallaby is 4 months old. Because she needs attention 24 hours a day, it requires a team effort to manage her care.
There are a rotation of 3 people that care for the baby in the evenings. So we do take her home. She no longer has to be fed through the night, which is nice for us. But she is fed late into the evening and then very early in the morning. So we take her home and she spends some time at home with us in which she gets some space like outside where she can run around and still have somebody there to help her make sure she gets back in her pouch.
Scary noises. Oh, scary noises.
Just like puppies or kittens, they're very playful. When she gets out, she darts around like something's after her, and she works on her turns and running quick, and sometimes she loses control of her her legs. She gets going too fast and struggles to slow down, and all the sorts of things that you would see in your pet at home, in your puppy or your kitten.
Oh, there you go, you silly girl.
The Phoenix zookeepers have had to improvise with this unexpected challenge of raising a baby wallaby. But certainly it appears they have met the challenge.
I think that it's always significant when you have to raise a baby. It's a lot of responsibility, and we don't take it lightly. We work hard to try to make sure that she gets the best health care, diet, love, and that responsibility is a lot to carry sometimes, but it brings a lot of joy too.
Our next story today is for all those hard-working animal moms out there. You know, it's not easy raising all those calves and cubs and pups and chicks and kids. But just like us humans, these next animal moms raise their children the best way they know how.
Mothers are important to everyone. Mothers are responsible for giving us our first food, our first care, teaching us the way in the world, and most importantly, how we're going to make it in the world as adults.
Each year, more than 1,000 babies are born here at the San Diego Zoo and Wild Animal Park. And as any mom can attest to, raising a child can be a very challenging job. The same holds true for raising an animal baby. Whether it be a giraffe calf or a group of ducklings, it's usually mom's job to teach these little fellas everything from how to protect themselves to where to get their food, which in the case of a baby manatee is a very interesting sight. The calf will nurse from its mother's front fin for up to 2 years. After that, it will slowly be weaned away from this type of feeding and begin to learn to graze on the plants that grow in the water. Obviously, young animals are extremely dependent upon their moms, and usually moms are there for their kids, right from the beginning, trying to teach them the ropes. From killer whales to fragile flamingos, we have watched all sorts of moms care for their young. Take, for example, this baby okapi, who shortly after it was born was up and walking, and mom was there to guide him every step of the way. Now, although these moms don't have to worry about things like homework and curfews, they do have to be concerned about other things like predators. In the wild, a baby left unprotected has very little chance for survival. But with an aggressive mom like this one, there's nothing that would get between an animal and her child. Not even the king of the beasts.
One of the biggest examples of parental love is when you have cubs or pups that chew on their parents' ears and bite their tails and crawl all over them and steal their food and wake them up when they're trying to sleep, and the parents are very tolerant. That looks like love to me.
However, just like the world in which we live, there are those unfortunate times when baby animals are left orphaned. Like this 10-day-old cheetah cub who was rejected by his mother. But thanks to the help of some human moms, these tiny little creatures are often given a new lease on life.
She gets 9 feedings a day, only about 11 milliliters of fluid each time, of formula each time, and she gets round-the-clock care. We're with her 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A schedule only a mom could keep when raising her young. As you have seen, moms come in all sorts of shapes and colors and even species. But there is one common bond that exists between all mothers, and that is love. The love they share for their children. Keep up the good work, moms. Hello again, everyone. Our next story is about a tree kangaroo family. Tree kangaroos are native to New Guinea and are very rare. There are only 38 of these animals known to exist. At the San Diego Zoo, a tree kangaroo named Bentley is lucky to be counted among the 38 still alive and well. Normally, a young tree kangaroo hangs out in mom's pouch, but Bentley's different. One morning, 10 months ago, his mom, Spring, gave keepers a very big surprise.
We went in and checked Spring's pouch, and lo and behold, we found a baby attached to the nipple. But to our great surprise, there was not one, but there was actually twins in the pouch. And that is the first time ever at the San Diego Zoo that we have on record a tree kangaroo giving birth to twins. But the question was going to be whether or not her pouch was going to be able to support those two babies or infants as they grew and became larger.
Everything went very well until one day about 5 months ago.
The keeper came in for the early shift to find a baby on the ground, and it was hypothermic. It was on the cold side, and we were a little bit concerned. So the decision was made at that point to go ahead and take the baby up to the hospital where it was evaluated, and they determined that it did need some special care. It was very cold. So to play it safe, we decided to hand raise one of the twins and to leave the mother with the other twin. So we took Bentley, the male, down to the Children's Zoo nursery where he was raised, and Spring was left with her other Joey, Summer, which was a little girl.
Spring and Summer are doing great together. As for Bentley, well, he seems to be very contented as well.
And get some exercise like a big kangaroo. Come on, oops, come on. Come on, let's get some exercise.
This doesn't look like a rejected tree kangaroo, does it? Actually, as it turns out, Spring didn't reject Bentley at all.
The mom never did reject the babies. In fact, when the babies would fall out of the pouch, she was a very concerned mom. She would go down to the ground. She would actually take her arms out, trying to bring the babies or the Joeys back into the pouch. And she was very attentive. But what turned out happening was there just was no more room left in the pouch.
So now, Bentley is one of the zoo's goodwill ambassadors. One day, he'll probably end up on Jay Leno or David Letterman.
Jump. You're gonna jump.
Bentley is already a star, yeah. He's got an absolutely great personality. We've had a chance to go down and visit him. He's very tractable. He enjoys the company of people. And he has a very special role in life right now, and that is to maybe help educate people on what's happening with tree kangaroos in the wild. To make people realize these are very endangered animals, and they've got a lot of concerns and problems going on in New Guinea in regards to tree kangaroos.
Yeah.
Over the years, we've done lots of stories here at the San Diego Wild Animal Park. We've visited with the okapis, an animal which looks like a zebra but is related to the giraffe. Oh, speaking of giraffes, I actually had the chance to feed one, or two or three, and got slimed by this gigantic tongue, which, by the way, is very soft. You ever seen a tongue that long? There was also the time I got up close and was able to pet a porcupine whose name was, get this, Pocahontas. But out of all the stories we've done here, this next one has to be the most heartwarming. What you are watching are a few fennec foxes at play. These adorable pups were born less than 6 months ago and just recently have come above ground to forage for food. However, these days the 4 foxes are without a mom. One night, a wild owl invaded the fox exhibit and seriously injured the mother fox. She suffered 2 broken legs and is recovering in the park's veterinary hospital away from her babies. On their own, and desperately trying to figure out this brand new world, these precious pups appeared lost. That is until zookeeper Sue Dorschel decided to take over the mothering duties for these animals.
We never thought we'd have this contact with them until Mom was injured and had to leave. And we thought it'd be a good opportunity to start trying to hand feed them and getting them used to humans, because she would never allow them out if we were in the exhibit.
It's okay.
Twice a day, Sue goes into the exhibit with a bag of grapes and some mealworms. And at the sound of her voice, the big-eared pups pop out of their burrow for a hand-fed snack and a chance to play.
Puppies, come on. Don't be scared.
I'd always go and talk to them when I was in there, just let them get used to my voice. And it only took 2 days where they started coming out and were eating out of my hand. Of course, I didn't breathe or move while they were out. And now they know my voice, and all the girls try to imitate it to get them to come out. And they come out for their goodies, and they like to play.
Fennec foxes are native to the regions of Monaco, Egypt, and the Sudan. Usually, they will live in a burrow that they dig in the sand. And yes, in case you were wondering about those large ears, well, not only do they help the fox catch its prey, but they also help dissipate their body heat in the desert environment.
Puppies, there you are.
So for now, Sue will continue her motherly duties. That is, until Mom Fox is ready to return. As for us, we'll continue our ongoing quest in trying to find interesting stories here at the park, whether we're playing with the lion cubs.
Whoa, okay, I'll be back over this way.
Well, maybe we'll stay away from the cubs, or bottle feeding a baby rhino. The San Diego Wild Animal Park is always a place to see lots of exciting animals.
We hope you enjoyed our program. For everyone here at Wild About Animals, including Twister, see you next time. Was that a deal? Okay.